Pavilion Banqueting Hall, comprising 2 beautifully decorated modern guest suites with seating capacity for up to 1,100 guests. An ideal choice for engagements, weddings, Mendi parties, exhibitions and seminars. Supported by the latest sound and video technology, air-conditioned and free Wi-Fi. Contact us today and see how we can make your vision a reality. The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, located on Featherstall Road South, Oldham. A perfect choice for your perfect day.
Welcome to UK24 TV, where we continue in the last day or so, it looks like in the last 48 hours of this blessed month of Ramzan Sharif, to bring you information about those professionals and those people within around us in the Western world who are trying their best to help those people who are in great need of support. And today I have some professionals, people from 2 different backgrounds who've come together through their friendship, and it was at school, who've continued to grow that friendship in the most beautiful way, and that is to help those communities and to make a real difference within the area of Azad Jammu Kashmir. Now, we've had other organisations that have come to us before, and they've come together for different reasons. But the common thread that runs through these kinds of organisations is one thing, and that is to make a difference. That is the fact that we are very blessed to be living in a country like this. We come from different professional backgrounds. Alhamdulillah, we have families, we have friends, we have jobs, and it's to make a real difference. And just as I met a sister the other day over in Manchester who said that she had everything in life, alhamdulillah, she had a wonderful family, husband, a child, and successful job, but she still felt that she needed to do something. She didn't feel complete. And that seems to be the common thread that's running through the veins and the blood of many philanthropists, I would say. That is to make that real difference. People want to make changes in the world around us. So we are very blessed to have 2 brothers today. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hope Welfare Trust is the actual organisation that brings you 2 together. First of all, you, Mohammed Zahoor, I've known you for a number of years now.
Indeed,
and you're linked to the health profession. You are an actual manager within an organisation.
I am, yes.
But this organisation is very dear to you. We'll find out as to exactly why in a minute.
Indeed.
But you brought along somebody, I was going to say childhood friend, if I would like to say that, because it sounds very sweet, and I don't know if you want to sound sweet. Zaied, Saleem, by Islamical. It's wonderful to see you.
Likewise.
You are a sponsor and a donor of this organisation.
That's right, yeah.
You yourself, Zahoor, you are an actual trustee of the organisation. But what brings you 2 brothers together is obviously your friendship, but the actual organisation, isn't it?
Indeed.
So if I ask you
it's a
first,
commonality, isn't it? It's a commonality, yes, indeed.
So Zahoor, first, tell me, why was it that you decided to set this organisation back up? I think it was 2015.
Indeed.
With other friends. Yeah. Why was it that?
First of all, Shanaz, I'd like to say Ramzan Mubarak to you, and thank you very much for inviting our organisation, Hope Welfare Trust, on this platform. I don't know whether you recall, about 2 years ago we met in Blackburn on another channel, and at that point our hospital was in construction phase. With the question that you've asked regarding what's the purpose of how this organisation started, I think, as you know, that mortality rate is diabolical in South Asia. The amounts of deaths that incur with newborn babies from the day of birth to a number of days, it's absolutely unimaginable. And that was our fundamental pinnacle, that where we thought we want to start something back home to support our deprived community towards health services, and that's how the inception of this organisation started.
I mean, it's a maternity and children's hospital. You have different projects that you work on, but the primary in terms of what you wanted to do back in 2015 was to concentrate on health services, wasn't
Indeed,
it?
yeah.
Why particular health services? I mean, people do education, people do health, and I know you've got a link, obviously, you know, in terms of your own professional background with health services. But why children and mothers? What made you?
Like I said, I think when you look at any countries where the welfare system or the establishment is not providing for everybody equally, the most deprived people are either children or women, which I'm sure you will agree with.
Absolutely.
No matter what part of the country you go in.
Absolutely.
And the birth is such a natural and beautiful thing that happens for every woman, and it is so sad to see that a woman is deprived from having the basic health treatment of knowing what she is going to go through, and for her to save the life of that child or her own, as a matter of fact, in this principle. And this is where we all thought, you know, like for more than anything, this is probably the most fundamental thing that we want to concentrate on for Hope Welfare Trust, the maternity and children health.
I mean, I first met you at a charity event.
I did.
A group of doctors who were actually organising the event, and they were actually a husband and wife team. One of them was is a gynecologist, and another one is a surgeon, a consultant surgeon. Both of them retired and decided to dedicate the rest of their life to services. So I can understand the links, but then I want to come on to you, Zaied Bhai. You are an engineer by profession.
That's right, yeah.
So you have no link with health services as such, other than a user, but you are a sponsor and a donor that supports us. Tell us why.
The thing was, Zahoor, actually, at the time of conception of this project, he asked for me to take part and get involved in the project, and because of my work commitments, my family commitments, I couldn't allocate that amount of time to the project. What I did say to Zahoor was, I can offer my financial support. I have quite a large family within the UK, and Alhamdulillah, you know, they're all doing really well. So I thought financially that is the support I can offer at this moment in time. But when he mentioned the hospital idea, I mean, I'm from an area in Pakistan called Bevel, very local to Gujran, and quite recently we've built our own hospital, Bevel International Hospital. I don't know whether you've heard of it, and that's been quite a big success for our area. And when Zahoor mentioned his maternity hospital in Azad Kashmir, I thought, you know, it's such a beautiful idea in an area where, you know, it is very close to the conflict zone as well. Yes. And people from the conflict zone can come and use them services. So why not? So I offered that financial support. The other thing was, when you give your zakat, your lila, you should, one of the responsibility on the person that gives the donation is to see where that money ends up, and make sure it ends up in the right place, and the end user is actually getting that money. And because I've known Zahoor literally all my life, I had that was a guarantee for me. Yes, that money was going to get spent at the right place. And hence, you know, I was on board from day one.
If you don't mind me saying, I mean, you're both young men, and you're talking about you're talking about, I think it was the young bit that made you smile. Yes. You're both young men who obviously, I mean, you have families, you're connected to families. Maternity and children's services tends to be something that women adhere to, and because naturally as mothers, as sisters and daughters, either we've gone through the pain of childbirth, or we know somebody and we may have been there present. What is it that, in terms of, draws you to I mean, I know you said in terms of mortality rates and understanding, but looking at general health or in terms of maternity services, why do you, as young men, believe that it's really important for people like yourselves to be involved?
Well, like I mentioned, the mortality rates, the biggest cause of death in countries that are under the poverty line generally, because women will not have access to basic health services. So if you start looking at long-term conditions and things like that, if a child is not going to get that support right at the beginning of their lifespan when it starts, then where would you actually start looking at focusing on anything? And that's fundamentally the reason why we think that this side of health is probably the most primarily needed services, not just where we've built it, but probably several other countries that lack basic welfare system.
I mean, you are in South Kashmir. It's in the Bimber area, in the district.
It's in District Kotli Hope Welfare Trust. The hospital itself is in a village called Prai, a rural village. Absolutely, there's where we built it. At least an hour and a half, there is no services in any direction. And we know there were so many cases that we had heard where a woman is in labour and she's being driven from one point to a hospital and she's had to deliver in the car, or like something's happened because they couldn't get to the services, to a health professional. And those were the sort of real life stories that we were familiar with, and that's where it started. But this hospital hasn't stopped there. I mean, that project is still our primary project. We're working on it. We've had lots of health professionals that have visited this hospital, but we're doing lots of other things as well.
I mean, I'm going to go on to, we have got a video, so we'll play that straight after the break. That will give us further information. I wanted to ask about, in terms of, I want the viewers to actually understand how vulnerable and in terms of the dangers that the women are having to go through during that very critical time, not just the 9 months prior to it, but even during the actual childbirth. So let's talk about the pregnancy itself. Yeah. What sort of services do you provide in terms of any support there? Any general gynae support?
Okay. So what we offer at the hospital right now is we literally offer a full UK level antenatal care. A woman that is pregnant in her early days, she'll come in, she will have an examination done, obviously a simple test to prove that whether she's pregnant or not. Then our midwife will give her the counselling, and following the counselling, the midwife will basically tell her the steps that she will be expected to encounter over the next 9 months, which is what we called our first check-up here in the UK. Then following that, the woman will be given information that these are the sort of things that will happen, and these are the sort of things that you should or shouldn't be doing. And throughout this pregnancy, the women will be fully supported. They'll be given contact number, the right medicine, and also the hospital will be available for them. Those that are from poor and needy background, they are given literally similar to NHS exemption cards, which are valid for 2 years, and they will come in and all the treatment will be free for them from the point of entering the building and to the point of leaving the building.
So anybody eligible for zakat, for example, from a very...
And everything.
It's means tested, isn't it?
So it's a means tested done, and anybody that meets that requirement, just like how Zaied said, we have a fundamental responsibility to make sure that people's zakat and sadaqah is given where it should be spent, rather than justify with excuses why we have not delivered their amanat, because essentially we are only custodians to make sure that...
And the onus is, I was talking to another organisation just recently, and they said the onus is on the organisation. The organisation's responsibility is to ensure that sadaqah, lillah, zakat, and however, if it is zakat, it needs to be spent on zakat, where zakat can be spent, and where sadaqah can be spent, and where lillah can be spent. If someone wants to give any kind of donation, then it is a responsibility of the organisation to ensure that happens. I just want to ask about if there was a detection of possible problems. For example, if the mother develops diabetes, for example, pregnancy-related diabetes,
Gestational diabetes, yes.
Or if they develop, for example, any other problems, any other ailments that may require further educators in terms of support or information, education that they need. They may not have known about any problems. Then how do they get support?
So what happens is we are linked in with a number of other organisations. One of the organisations that we're linked in with is with Mother and Child Hospital, which is in Mirpur, and it's a massive organisation. Dr. Ejaz, who is running this establishment, who is a gynecologist from the USA, who's built this. We work very closely with him, who will give regular input into the organisation. We've got a gynecologist that works with us as well, and she is very regularly involved with all the cases, and they discuss certain outcomes, and then we have health professionals from here that support our team there as well. So therefore, when you get not the norm case, we know exactly where we should be signposting them. So if there is something, say there is a complications that we are not equipped to deal with, we will know exactly where this person needs to be at that given time. And we've actually got 2 ambulances which have been kindly donated, one from America and one from Stoke-on-Trent, some lovely donators of ours, and they are always on standby just to make sure. And so we aren't operating as an isolated hospital that can only help patients to a limitation.
I want to bring you back into this, Zaied. As a donor, as somebody who sponsors and your family is involved, I'm sure your friends will be involved, is what sort of information do people require in order to feel, I mean, you've got a personal relationship here. Other than that, from a organisation point of view, many people will be watching saying, it sounds really wonderful, yes, I want to get involved, but you yourself have gone through that experience. What sort of information should people be asking in order to get involved and for the best possible services then to be provided?
Well, first of all, I'd be expecting a lot of organisations or a lot of charities offer the 100% donation policy. And
you yourself, this organisation says that 100% donation policy.
And that was, yeah.
And you've scrutinised me, haven't you?
And I have
and
definitely.
You need to mention this angle.
Zahoor has been to Pakistan.
I want to know how you've scrutinised it.
Yeah. He's been to Pakistan on several occasions, and on his last visit, I think it was on his way to the airport. When I phoned him up and I said, "What are you doing?" and he said, "I'm just on my way to the airport. I'm flying off to Pakistan." I think it was either the inauguration or it was his second.
It was a dental camp. I think it was a dental camp that we were. And one of the questions I asked him, I said, "Okay, are you going on my money? Are you going with the
Absolutely.
And he was travelling. Was it first class or
no? It was first class.
He was travelling on I think it was an Emirates flight. And I said to him, one of the responsibilities you have when people are donating money is making sure that money is not abused, because it hurts me to say there's many charities out there that will say that they offer 100% donation policy. But unfortunately the money does not always end up at the end user, and the money is siphoned out for other projects not directly related to the charity. And the conversation went to Zahoor was travelling, and the money that's used for expenses is used out of the gift aid donations. So the actual money that's given either in zakat, lillah, sadaqah, etc., that comes out through the money that goes direct to the end user. It's 100% certified. And I know so because I get regular updates on Facebook, and then you can see where the money is.
I just wanted to ask you about that. I mean, because we talk about 100% donation policy, obviously, Then we have the element of the gift aid. Obviously, that gift aid is an amount that they can claim from the government for anybody who is a taxpayer. 20% is still 20%, I think. Yeah,
2.5%.
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5%. Yeah,
So
that's a generous donation. There.
It's so 2.5% of the donation can be claimed from the government of the actual donation. So how you as a sponsor, you as a donor, you scrutinise and ask that question. So let's pick on Zahoor here.
Yeah, why not?
So why not? So he's going on a flight and he's going to go there and he's going for some dental camp or whatever it is. Can that work not be done sitting here on a video screen and that kind of work? Do people really need to go, and does it need to be spent out of that money, or can it be done in line with other things, like a family trip or a holiday or something like that? I just want to pick on him because he's here.
That's exactly what I asked him. I said,
and I will answer this, right? Okay. So we've been running since 2015, and Alhamdulillah, I can vouch for whatever we've done up to the first three years or so. We have donated from our own pocket. Whatever we've done, whether we've had to drive from here to Glasgow or from Glasgow to London, or even including Pakistan as well.
So the trustee,
so we've all contributed. We've all contributed, but we have to be practical, Shanaz. You have to look at it from this point of view, that as a voluntary worker, how long will you carry on going for? How long will you carry on going for? How long will you fork out from your own pocket when the government actually makes this resource for you? Now this is a resource for you to use. There's no employees in our charity. There's 9 trustees that we have. Nobody takes a salary. And when we go for any project, it's not like everybody will say that, you know what, just like how you just mentioned this comment about going on holiday. You know, like obviously I went and there was another person, there were only 2 of us that went, and we had a very, very very basically back-to-back agenda, that there was so many things that needed to be done. And if they could have been done on phone, I don't think there was any interest for myself or Zaied or anybody else from our charity to want to go just for the sake of, like, you know, just see this person and see that person. And I think if anyone, you know how difficult things are done in Pakistan, you've got to go and say Sarji to the same people at least 20 times before they'll know that you are this person to get the job done. So,
I mean, I personally, my own personal opinion is that there are legitimate costs that have to be paid by somebody somehow, and if you have the right person and that person can get the job done, then those costs need to be looked at. There's been Charities Commission do scrutinise as well. They do look at how people work, how costs are paid out. But ultimately, the decision lies with the organisation, doesn't it, in terms of and how they do that. Just on that, in terms of donations, do you have separate accounts for zakat?
We do.
And for other
so we have separate accounts, and all zakat donations are in our zakat pot. All these money will be spent on zakat projects, and in fact, some people will say, here's £500 and this £500 is for a water project. Then it becomes our responsibility to ensure we deliver that water project, and we will actually show them that evidence that this is where your money has gone. But just on the angle of gift aid, just want to add one more point on there. Just for clarity, alhamdulillah, over these years we've probably claimed over £50,000 gift aid.
Mashallah.
As an organisation, we've probably not used more than £7,000. The rest of that £43,000, it's all gone back into project.
Okay.
So, you know, like I'm not here to say what other charities do and how they do or whatever. We try to spend as minimum as possible if we can get away from anything. But I think the realistic fact is that people need to understand that if you are voluntarily involved, there are some financial implications, and there's no getting around it. We've done it for 3 years, but if people are expecting that this can go on forever, that's impossible, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. We have got a video. I'm not sure if our technical team has managed to get the video ready. If not, we'll go to a commercial break, and in that. Sorry. Yeah, we're going to go to a commercial break, and straight after the break, we will have a video. And I want to actually bring that video in because I think it gives a very comprehensive view of what you're trying to do. And then we'll talk about the project. Let's go to a commercial break, and then straight after we'll learn more about Hope Welfare Trust and the work that they do and the projects that they're involved in. Thank you, Saleem.
Pavilion Banqueting Hall, comprising 2 beautifully decorated modern guest suites with seating capacity for up to 1,100 guests. An ideal choice for engagements, weddings, Mendi parties, exhibitions and seminars. Supported by the latest sound and video technology, air-conditioned and free Wi-Fi. Contact us today and see how we can make your vision a reality. The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, located on Featherstall Road South, Oldham. A perfect choice for your perfect day.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to UK 24 TV, where we're talking to professionals who are engaging with communities and looking at charity work. But I think the most important thing at the moment that's been going on is actually the cricket.
Oh, yeah,
Without a doubt.
That's what we were discussing.
So how's Pakistan doing and how's England doing? Because I'm a bit torn between the two.
It's looking good. It's looking good for Pakistan, provided they keep the fielding intact and the bowling tie. I mean, they need to make 75 runs and there's how many overs did we say? No, 42. So they've got 8 overs.
8 overs.
Yeah.
So they've got 8 overs. So it can be done. It can be done.
England need to be 10 runs and over, I think.
So whether it's England or Pakistan, we're both supporting in both ways.
We got the best of both worlds. Yeah.
We've got the best of both worlds at the moment, but
we don't know.
Dil aur dimag ki ladai ho rahi hai. Dil aur dimag ki ladai ho rahi hai. Our mind is saying we need to go with England, but our heart's sort of going dug dug is going to Pakistan, I think. So obviously, inshallah, we'll get some good news either way. Let's just talk about in terms of the project, and in a second we'll play the video.
Okay.
You started off with the health projects. Obviously, initially it was to do with health, and then you moved on to further projects. Tell us about a project that you're actually working on now at the moment, and then we'll have a look at the history of it.
Well, we've got several projects going within health itself. We're obviously just starting to venture into diabetes, which is another major problem.
Absolutely,
it's such a big problem.
And it's not just within Pakistani communities, Kashmiri.
So
it's a South Asian. It's such a big problem. It's such a big problem, and it's very unfortunate that people start getting access to treatment when they are at that point where they're ready to have their either feet amputated or the major organs have given up.
That people don't really understand how serious it can be, because they think, oh, asan pure khandan ki diabetes hai. Kya rola hai? Oh, goliyan khao, teeke lagao, ye karo, and they've got their own sort of other medicines going on.
Yeah, in the background, yeah.
In this country, perhaps it's not understood the seriousness of it. But in other countries where medical intervention at an early stage is not brought in, it can be absolutely detrimental, like you said, the amputation of limbs. Now, do people really understand that?
They don't, and this is exactly the reason why we have started rolling these services out. Inshallah, we will be majorly playing an instrumental role and pretty much doing the prevention work as pretty much that we do here in the UK. So just as diabetes as a topic, one of the things that we pick up here is pre-diabetic patients, and obviously like you've got to check the person's sugar level readings, and if they are going out of the normal range, then that's the point where the alarm bell rings, and the patient itself, they need to do something differently. Either it's lifestyle, or they need to change certain things that they are eating or they shouldn't be doing.
It can be done with diet control.
They can be.
I've suffered over the years, and one of the first things that I learned through my own GP was, and then I went to see the diabetic nurse, and said, right, if you can control it now with diet control, then you can avoid all the complications after it. And it was alarm bells, because I actually discovered it whilst I was at work, and I actually collapsed at work because my blood sugar had dropped so low. I think it was on like 0 or something like that. And I actually didn't wake up for 3 days. So the doctors, because they couldn't understand, but I didn't know where I was. Somebody took me home. I left my car at work. I was teaching at a college, and this is how serious it was. I'd not been feeling well for a long time. I was tired. But being a woman, I thought, oh, it's this, it's that, and I was doing my own diagnosis like we do. And so it's that, we're sorting it all out. But then when I woke up after 3 days, my doctor actually said, if you hadn't got home, if you hadn't done the checks, and if you hadn't got some fluids down, we don't know, we could have lost you. That's how serious it was. But people don't understand that, do they?
They don't, absolutely, they don't. And this is why it's so important that we need to work on these projects and make people understand. And I think it's all about education, and eventually, where a society that don't get the very basic education that we take for granted, they will eventually understand. But it just needs lots of encouragement, and if you can pick it up at early stages, that's where you can make the major differences, rather than start putting everybody on insulin and say that just carry on increasing the dose and until it's game over for them.
I'm just going to, if we've got the video ready, let's see if we've got the video ready. If it's ready, then we'll play it. And what Yeah, it's ready to play. So let's have a look at the video. The video will inshallah give us lots of information about the projects and we will be able to, and also in terms of your websites and information, it's all in there and we'll be able to share that information. Let's move straight onto the video and we'll ask the questions later.
Is just a few models of success in this ummah. And the first model that I want to use is Suhaib al-Rumi. And there are many Sahaba, I can choose from any of them because they're all models of success. Suhaib al-Rumi, the reason I choose to take him is first of all, he was a slave who was stolen in his youth by Byzantines. He was raised amongst the Byzantines and finally escaped from them and ended up in Mecca poor and bereft. But the man was a man of success. He became a wealthy merchant in Mecca very quickly. When the Sahaba were making hijrah, Suhaib al-Rumi made hijrah alone. He thought he was going to make hijrah with the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet made hijrah with Abu Bakr. He made his hijrah alone. The Quraysh followed him out. And he finally sat his arrows and he saw the Quraysh in front of him and he said, Ya Quraysh, innakum ta'lamuna inni armakum. You know that I'm one of the best archers amongst you. And wallahi, if you come near to me, I'll throw every arrow at you and take many of you. And I'll kill many of you. But if you let me go, then I'll tell you where I hid my wealth in Mecca. And you can go and take it. And they agreed with that. And they were people, even though they were mushrikeen, they were people of wafa, not of ghadab. And so they gave him his aman. And then they went back and they took his wealth. When he got to Medina, the first thing the Prophet ﷺ said to him, Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. Your tijara with Allah that was successful. Your tijara with Allah was successful. Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. You traded dunya for akhirah, and that is what gave you your success. Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. Who told him? Man anba'aka? Who told you what the Suhaib al-Rumi did in the middle of the desert? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the gift of Suhaib al-Rumi to this ummah. Min an-nas. From those who sell themselves, seeking only the desire of Allah, seeking only the contentment of Allah.
मेरा नाम कलसूम है और मैं होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट में LHB यानी सीनियर मिडवाइफ के फ़राइज़ सर अंजाम दे रही हूँ। मैंने यहाँ होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट में 43 नेचुरल बर्थ करवाई हैं और यहाँ पर ख़वातीन जो कि प्रेग्नेंट होती हैं उनको बेहतरीन किस्म की एंटीनेटल की सहूलियात मुहैया की जाती हैं। और यहाँ पर हमारा मेन मकसद जो है ख़वातीन को हेल्थ केयर प्रोवाइड करना है, उनकी सपोर्ट करना है और मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी रेट को कम करना है। यहाँ पर हर किस्म की बेहतरीन सहूलियात मुहैया की जाती हैं एंटीनेटल की, जो कि एक इंटरनेशनल लेवल के हॉस्पिटल में होनी चाहिए। इसके अलावा हम यहाँ पर वो ख़वातीन जिनकी फैमिली मुकम्मल हो चुकी है या जो अपने बच्चों के दरमियान वफ़ा करना चाहती हैं, उनको कॉन्ट्रासेप्टिव मेथड भी प्रोवाइड किए जाते हैं।
मेरा नाम गाजिया नाम है और मेरा तल्लक इधर नज़दीकी इलाके प्रेम से है। मेरी बेटी की पैदाश यहाँ हुई थी, इसका नाम नया फातिमा है। माशाल्लाह बहुत अच्छी कोशिश है आप लोगों की और हमारे लिए फ़ायदा भी है।
मेरा नाम डॉक्टर साजिद खान है, मैं मेडिकल ऑफिसर हूँ और मैं मॉर्निंग शिफ्ट का इंचार्ज हूँ यहाँ पे। मुझे तकरीबन 11 माह हो गए हैं होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट हॉस्पिटल में काम करते हुए। तो ये हॉस्पिटल मेरा 4 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है और मेरा सबसे जो बेस्ट एक्सपीरियंस है काम करने का वो होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट हॉस्पिटल में है। यहाँ पे खुसूसन गरीब लोगों को हर किस्म की सहूलत दी जाती है और फ्री में दी जाती है। यहाँ पे लेबॉर्ट्री की सहूलत मौजूद है, एक्सरे की सहूलत मौजूद है, अल्ट्रासाउंड की सहूलत मौजूद है, मेडिसिन की सहूलत मौजूद है। गरीब लोगों को तमाम सहूलियात फ्री में मुहैया की जाती हैं। इस हॉस्पिटल का मुआयना अगर आज़ाद कश्मीर के टॉप हॉस्पिटल से किया जाए तो ये गलत बात नहीं है। और ये मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो हॉस्पिटल है ये आज़ाद कश्मीर का बेस्ट हॉस्पिटल है। इसमें हर किस्म की सहूलत मौजूद है, बेहतरीन डॉक्टर यहाँ पे मौजूद है। मैं मॉर्निंग शिफ्ट पे हूँ, इवनिंग पे डॉक्टर साहब मौजूद हैं। यहाँ पे LHVs मौजूद हैं, लैब टेक्नीशियन मौजूद है, एक्सरे टेक्नीशियन मौजूद है, मेडिकल स्टोर मौजूद है जिसमें मरीजों को मुफ्त दवाइयाँ दी जाती हैं। और मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि होप वेलफेयर टीम इंशाल्लाह मजीद तावन इस हॉस्पिटल के साथ जारी रखेगी और लोगों को मजीद सहूलियात यहाँ पे फराहम की जाएंगी।
है। मैं यहाँ पर पिछले 3 महीनों से इवनिंग शिफ्ट का इंचार्ज हूँ और मेरी जो इवनिंग टाइम ड्यूटी टाइमिंग है वो 2 PM से 8 PM से मॉर्निंग 8 AM से 8 AM तक मैं ऑन कॉल होता हूँ।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं सबसे पहले ओवर फ्रंट का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि जिनने मुझे घर बना कर दिया। मैं 8 महीने से इस टेंट में रहता हूँ और सर्दियाँ भी इसमें गुजारी हैं मैंने और गर्मियाँ भी गुजारी हैं और अभी फिर सर्दी शुरू हो गई है और मैंने काफ़ी मुश्किलात देखी हैं इस टेंट में। और मेरे बच्चे 5 बच्चे हैं, छोटे हैं, मैं काम नहीं कर सकता हूँ। मेरे एक बीवी शुगर की मरीज़ा है, एक बेटी में शुगर का मरीज़ा है और मैं खुद शुगर का मरीज़ा हूँ। मैं मजदूरी नहीं कर सकता था जिसकी वजह से मैं मकान तो क्या मैं 2 वक्त की रोटी कमा के अपने बच्चों को नहीं खिला सकता था। जो अभी मुझे घर बना के दिया है मैं अभी दिखाता हूँ आपको कितना बड़ा घर का मुझे मालिक बना दिया है उस तंजीम ने। और मैं बाहरियत अपने घर में रह सकता हूँ। ये घर में 100 साल बाद भी नहीं बना सकता था। वो अपने घर में लेके जा रहा हूँ जो और बार फेयर वालों ने मुझे बना कर दिया है और दली साहब ने था ये टेंट वगैरह अभी भी ओले पड़े और शदीद सर्दी शुरू हो गई है। तो सर्दियों से पहले मेरा मकान तामीर हो चुका है। ये मेरा मकान, मैं ये अपने मकान में आ गया हूँ। अल्लाह ताला ने मुझे बहुत अच्छा और खूबसूरत मकान बना के दे दिया और वर्क सेंटर तंजीम वालों ने। और इसमें मेरे हर चीज़ मुकम्मल हो गई है, सेलिंग से लेके वायरिंग से लेके और हर चीज़ जितनी जो था वो मुकम्मल हो गया। टीन से लेके ऊपर छत से लेके प्लांट से मेरा इस पे कोई खर्चा नहीं आया, मेरा 1 रुपया भी खर्चा नहीं आया। बल्कि जो मेरे घर पे जो मिस्त्री काम करते थे वो भी खर्चा इसी तंजीम की तरफ से उठाया गया और दिया गया। ओवल फिर तंजीम ने मेरा सारा खर्चा बर्दाश्त किया और मेरा इसमें कोई खर्चा नहीं आया। मैं उसके लिए दुआ करता हूँ, फिर एक बार दफ़ा दुआ करता हूँ कि अल्लाह ताला ऑल फॉर तंजीम को अल्लाह ताला गैबाना मदद करे ताकि और भी जितने गरीब लोग हैं उनको भी मदद हो और वो भी अपनी छत के नीचे अपना ज़िंदगी बसर करें।
Welcome back to UK24, where we've continued our conversation about many things, but in particular within Pakistan and what's happening there. Azad Kashmir is a disputed territory.
Indeed,
and
yes.
lots of
Indeed.
NGOs are not able to go into the territory because of certain restrictions in terms of monies that are out there. But,
there's a host of issues, aren't there? There's a host of issues.
issues.
It's not just a few.
How much support are you getting from the government of Azad Kashmir and the government of Pakistan and anybody else?
Financially, none. But however, we've come to some sort of agreement, or it's a memorandum of understanding that we've signed with the AJK government to work with them on numerous projects, including our hospital. Just on our route here, I was actually speaking to the district health officers. These are basically the lead doctors of certain areas or regions, if you want to call it as of such, just to see whether we can provide some basic CPR training that we have here mandatory for their staff, and so we're trying to support them as much as we can. Unfortunately, there's lack of resources, lack of funding, lack of understanding, and there's lots of other things that they're not seen as priority. And
I want to pick up on the point of education. This is something that we sort of touched upon just before we saw the video. Education is absolutely vital, isn't it?
It is,
ensuring
yes.
that they have information. We see lots of information here about diabetes, about cancer. Recently there's been a whole campaign on cancer, men's cancers in terms of prostate cancers and other cancers and things that probably won't even heard of. I mean, I was talking to a colleague of mine. I said, if you do know that men can have breast cancer, and she looked at me thinking, what's she on about? She's lost the plot. I said, people don't understand. And then we started to have a conversation. And this is an educated man from here. So somebody that's had an array of information, bombarded from different media and social media and health professionals. How do we get that information across to people? The need for clinics, the need for dental care, the need for smoking awareness or tobacco-related diseases and all those things. How do we do that within somewhere like within those particular areas, for example?
I think fundamentally it needs to happen from the grassroots. I mean, we can say lots of things here, but if the common person doesn't have access to internet, or they don't understand the language that we're speaking, or they don't understand the setup that we're in, they won't take that on board. But if you are working with these people on grassroots, which is your frontline workers, the people that you've got employed, the people that these people have confidence and trust in, if it's coming from them and if it's continuously consistent, that's the only way that you can get through to them. And obviously the key thing is education. If you've got 15 people telling you that diabetes isn't a problem, the doctors is just fibbing you, carry on eating these mangoes, you're naturally going to listen to them 15 people. But if one person actually demonstrates to you that you eating these mangoes is what's going to happen to you eventually, and you would think that like this is actually poison for me rather than having the sweetness of that mango. It's just an example. And here you'll see a lot of community that probably aren't educated so as to that degree, but yet they don't understand the long-term conditions because they are getting that regular education through primary care, through the nurses, through people that have experienced that and they've heard it from somebody, and that's what's needed more than anything. Education on the grassroots.
I mean, Zaied, somebody born and brought up here looks at can see the array of information that's out there, and there still is a lot to be done here. In someone like that, how important do you think it's for professional people to be involved in these kinds of organisations to be able to get that message across? How important do you think that is?
I think it's very important, especially in Pakistan, education, especially the older end. They have their own ways of living. They are very stubborn. They have their diets, and then changing their dietary habits is very, very difficult. But if you go back in history, when Pakistan wasn't as advanced as what it is today, they used to have that desi ghee, but they used to work it all that off. The cholesterol wasn't building up and the arteries weren't getting blocked. now in this modern day and age, everybody wants to watch the news channel, wants to watch the politicians' arguments with one another, watch cricket, fascinate over cricket,
but not play cricket.
And that is the big fundamental change that needs to come to Pakistan, because and not just Pakistan, we're within the whole South Asian region, because diabetes is in a way a big cancer within the region, and if we don't act upon that now, then it's going to be too late.
I mean, we are coming to the end of the program. I just want to bring in cultural mindsets and changing cultural mind, but having an understanding of that culture, because one thing that we can't ignore is a community, so for example in Bevel, where your hospital is, or whether it be in Kotli, or whether it be in Muzaffarabad, or whether it be in somewhere like Islamgarh, even those communities are very different. Their dynamics are different, their understanding.
Indeed.
A rural area to an urban area, to a city, modern as opposed to Western, as opposed to traditional. All of them have their own dynamics, don't they?
Indeed.
What's it like being two people from here, being involved in an organisation that is looking after people within Azad Kashmir? Do they look at you and think, nah, they've just got money into it, so let's just skank them? I'm being honest here. Do they look at you as a bank, as a cash point, or do they actually listen to some of the things that you guys are saying?
I think this is down to.
I saw you smiling.
Yeah, I think.
I think we might have different opinions.
I
good
think.
to hear it.
I think this comes down to the end user or the end recipient. If the end user is struggling and if they have genuine problems, they will probably not see you as the cash point. If the end user is luxuriously managing well, and or if it doesn't really affect them, and they probably see with that mindset that like these guys have something that either we can gain something from, or they've got absolutely nothing better to do in their time, and therefore they're just wasting their time and money here. So it kind of varies. It just depends whether the person that you are trying to help is a needy person or not. That's what I think would be the honest answer. What about yourself, Zaied? We would like to hear your views.
I just think it's like, and people are guilty. I mean, we are guilty of the same. People within the Asian community, and not just within the Asian community, abuse the NHS system. Where you can go out to buy some paracetamol for up to £1. We generally go to the doctor and say, ask the doctor to prescribe it
for an £8 prescription.
And then so we are, as Asians, as Muslims, we are abusing the NHS system, and similar to that, I think in Pakistan, where there's people that Sahib here, they can afford it. Faith posh people, they can afford the healthcare. But I think where there's an opportunity where they can maybe get their healthcare for free through NGOs, through charities, I think they will maybe would be economical with the truth to get the free healthcare, and hence I keep reminding Zahoor, the means testing within his organisation, his charity, needs to be very, very severe and very strict.
Okay. Brilliant. A final message in terms of if somebody wanted to get involved with the charity, learn more about the charity, obviously the videos, and we're going to play another video just to finish off the programme. How do they get a hold of you guys, and how can they become volunteers and sponsors and donors?
We are available on pretty much every platform. We've got our website, which you'll see on the video. We're on Facebook. We constantly put everything on there, whether it's the smallest thing that we've done or the largest thing. We want our donators, even if you're not our donators, we want you to know what we are doing with your money or your trust that you've put into us. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter. So we are on a host of different platforms. We're available. And obviously, if anybody wants to contact us, our numbers are there. And if you want to get involved, whether if you want to volunteer for us, or if you want to offer your services as a professional in any capacity. I mean, I know we've discussed most of our discussion around the health side, but our charity does projects around housing. We do water projects. We've got over 350 orphans that we take care of all the educational needs, just to make sure that these kids are the future of Pakistan, which is what one of the things that we've been talking about, that education is the key thing. And this is what we need to change. We need to educate the community so they can bring the difference in there, and rather than the next generation keep depending on NGOs and on organizations, that they drive that country. And so we are available in various platforms if people want to contact us.
Well, thank you very much, both of you, for coming in.
Thank you very much, Shanaz. Thank you.
I think we're still holding our breath and finding out what's happening with the cricket.
Yeah.
So we have got a website. The website is www.hopewelfaretrust.org. So it's www.hopewelfaretrust.org. We have got a video that we're going to play just to finish off the programme. And as always, I say at the end of my programme, please look after yourself, because in looking after yourself, we indeed look after each other. Inshallah, we will be coming back later on with a cricket update. Until then, all the best to both teams, and let's see how well we do. Let's have a look at this video. Assalamu alaikum.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट में जितने भी डोनर और ख़ास करी ख़वातीन ने बड़ा हिस्सा उसने अस्सलाम वालेकुम। होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट की तरफों माड़ा भी जिम्मेदारी लगी सी कि मोहम्मद रफीक खरांदी ने मकान बनवाना। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह असां मकान और प्रोजेक्ट 27 दिनों में मुकम्मल किया। शुरू में असें बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हुई है कि इस जगह में कोई ड्राइवर नहीं सी तैयार समान ढोने वास्ते। ये असें शदीद प्रॉब्लम हुई है कि सड़क नहीं सी सही। उस तो अलावा असां दूसरी प्रॉब्लम ये हुई है कि बारिशों का मौसम सी, मानसून और बारिशों भी साढ़े वास्ते रुकावट बनिया। लेकिन फिर भी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह साड़ी टीम अच्छी सी, जदोजहद करने वाली टीम सी, हार्ड वर्क करने वाली टीम सी। उन्होंने पूरी कोशिश नाल 27 दिनों में ये मकान तैयार किया। और इस मकान में तो असां सहूलतां दित्तियां। रफीक की सब तो बड़ी सहूलत जी असां शुरू तो किया अपने किचन दी है, और किचन के पिछे जो साउथ साइड इधरों सर्दियों में और गर्मियों में तेज और ठंडिया हवावां आईं, और हवा और बारिशां जिसकी अपनी ज़बान से फांडा आखने और रोकने वास्ते इधर असां दीवार बनाई है। इस साइड भी मतलब है असां ओपन रखा और फ्रंट भी ओपन रखा, इस वास्ते कि एक किचन इसकी हर मतलब मौसम और सीजन में आरामद इसकी है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी। रफीक साहब हमारे सामने बैठे हुए, इन्हों पर मैं चंद सवाल कर सा। मेरा सवाल है रफीक साहब कि रमजान तो पहले मैं अपने अदारे की तरफों मैं आया सा, होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट की तरफों तो साना कोई मसला सी, कोई मकान का मसला सी। ते उस तो बाद असां वो सारा कुछ रिपोर्ट करी ते तुसां पूछी ते अपना अदारा होप वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट में भेजा। उन्होंने मतलब है समझा कि तुसां इस चीज़ में हकदार सो। असां तुसां काम शुरू किया। मेरा सवाल है कि मैं जिम्मेदारी लाई सी मेरी अमीन कि उस काम ये कराना अपनी निगरानी, क्यों खुद काम जानना भी है। मैं खुद 6-7 दफ़ा इतना आया करना रहा। अच्छा मेरा सवाल है कदे तुसां की ऐसा इतफाक होया कि तुसां मिस्त्री इंतजार करने रहे ते तुसां को मटीरियल नहीं पहुंचा दिखने रहे?
सरकार कोई ना दे अस्सलाम वालेकुम जड़ाना कोई वेट नहीं हुई मिस्त्रियों की तरफों। सामान सारा तोड़ो तो नालो नाल से मुकम्मल लगना रहा।
ਮਿਸਤਰੀ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਸਨ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਹੀ ਬੜੀ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਬੜਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ। ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਾਲਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਅੱਧੇ ਛੱਟੀ ਕੇ ਚਲੋ ਬਹਿਣਾ ਨਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ। ਬੜੇ ਚੰਗੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਸਨ, ਬੜਾ ਸਫਲ ਮਾਰੀ ਗਏ ਇਸਨੇ ਸਨ ਉੱਤੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਵੀ ਮੁਸਤਫਲ ਦੂਰ ਖੜਾ ਸੀ। ਇਸਨੇ ਬੜੀ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਬੜੀ ਮਿਹਰਬਾਨੀ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ ਅਦਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿਹੜਾ।
अच्छा दूआ मेरा सवाल है कि कदे ऐसा इतफाक होया कि मौलवी अमीन जेडे बंदे लाए ने उन्होंने कदे इस तरह किया कि अद्धी दिहाड़ी काम करी तो मुझे उन्होंने आखिया नहीं जी गलत हो गया इसकी पर्च पट्टा करी दोबारा शुरू कर सा
ना कोई जरा ना दोबारा कोई भी जरा काम करने लो तोड़ करने लो कर देना काम किया कोई बहुत अच्छा काम किया उन्होंने ठीक है जरा काम होया ठीक किया उन्होंने।
अच्छा रफीक साहब मेरा आखिरी सवाल है कि जिन्होंने भरावां और भैन भी शामिल इसमें जो खवातीन भी काफी शामिल हैं उन्होंने पैसे इकट्ठे करी दिन रात मेहनत करी ते तुसां वास्ते एक रिहायश बंदोबस्त किया तो उन्होंने वास्ते तुसां क्या ख्यालात उन्होंने वास्ते तुसां क्या आखना चाहते हो?
सबसे सरकार ये है मैं सबकी मेरी मजबूरी है जिला अपना काम शुरू करने के बावजूद ये होया कि मैं सोच विचार रहा कि हमारा कोई विश्वास नहीं खाने पकाने ना मैं रिज़्क़ ना पूरा कर सकना मुझे तो फिर सारा कुछ उन्हें जितना कुछ जैसे दुकान पकान बच्चे वाले वास्ते भी तो उन्हें मिस्त्री मजदूरों वास्ते भी सारा कुछ उन्हें किया तो उन्होंने भी मेहरबानी तो बड़ा शुक्रिया। तो तुसा ने जितनी मामा बहना जितना ये पैसा तेला इकट्ठा किया ने मेरी सब्जी बनाई देती है बहुत बड़ा मैंने शुक्रिया अदा करना। तो सारी जिंदगी में उन्होंने वास्ते बड़ा बचा जितना उत्तर बदला होया उन्हें वास्ते दुआ करती कि अल्लाह ताला उन्हें और दे तो जिंदगी करने की ताकत।